Hey everyone, welcome to Small Batch Devs. My name is Austin.
And I'm Elliot. Today we're going to be talking about tips for fixing bugs in your code. We actually introduced a bug in our last episode, and we're going to fix it today.
So let's get started. So let's run through some steps that we personally use to fix bugs. The first being reproducing the bug. That's always important because you need to know what you're fixing. So in our Firefox window here, we're going to click on our edit just so we can show what the bug is. Let's say we want to change some text in here. In the last episode, we introduced the pretty URL, which is up here in the URL bar. So now if we hit save, we'll get an error saying that already exists. And it obviously does exist already because we've saved this post. We're just trying to edit it now. So that is the bug we reproduced.
Now we're going to jump into the code and try to find the problem. So we're on the edit page here. And if we scroll down to the logic that surrounds the checking for an already existing blog post, we can see that that's not the ideal solution we should have gone with in the previous episode, because obviously we want to edit this blog post, and there is a blog post that has this pretty URL. So there's no way for us to edit this. So the problem is right here. So this check is wrong, and we need to come up with a new solution to determine whether we can edit based on if it's an existing post or not, if it's a new post and we're trying to use an existing pretty URL. With that information in mind, we are going to try to come up with a new solution. So I think it would be best if we focused on whether or not this post that we're trying to update is a new post or an edit post. And there's a pretty easy way we can do that. Up here in our observable, when this form is created for the first time, it's either going to be null or it's going to be an existing form. So we can set a class variable that says, hey, this is a new post if it's empty or null, or it's an existing post if we've pulled down data for an existing post. So I think we should set a variable here that kind of tracks that. And then in our save method, we can check if it's a new post or if it's an existing post. And if it's an existing post, we don't want to check for the existing blog pretty URL. We're just going to make those updates. If it's a new post, we do want to check that we're not overwriting an existing post with that pretty URL.
So let's go ahead and jump into the code for it.
Cue the music. Cue the music.
So now that we've identified what the bug was, figured out a solution for it, and now implemented this solution, let's go ahead and talk about what we did. So we created a Boolean up here that will hold whether the post already exists or not. And here in our code, when we're actually building our form based off the post, we're just going to do a quick check to see if that post already exists, or if it's null or if there is something there. And this will convert it into a Boolean for us using these two exclamation points. So if it does exist, we'll get true. If it does not, we'll have false, obviously. So down in our onSubmit function, we can now use this extra conditional to check if the post already exists or not. And if it does not exist, then we can go ahead and actually pull all the posts and see if that pretty URL that you are trying to use already exists or not. Otherwise, the post doesn't exist, and we can just go ahead and save it. Here in the HTML, we added a quick conditional for that is existing post, and what this will do is actually disable that pretty URL field if the post already exists. So we're basically just making it so you can't edit that field. And Elliot will go ahead and demo our changes.
The next step is to test your fix, right? You want to make sure you actually solved all the edge cases surrounding your bug. So we have two tests that we need to run. The first one is we need to be able to edit an existing post. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to change this header here. And we'll hit save. Oh, and you can see right here, this field is actually disabled, so we can't change that. That's a good thing. I'm going to hit save, and then we'll make sure that that update saved to the database, and it sure did. So I'm just going to put that back, and we'll hit save again. And the second test we have to run is that we can actually create a new post without overwriting an existing pretty URL. So I've copied the pretty URL for the last post, and we're going to go ahead and try to create one with that same URL. So if I paste that in and we just put some basic text and try to hit save, we should get that error that says, hey, this post already exists, you can't overwrite it, which is good. So now if we do change this pretty URL and try to save it, our error message goes away and the blog post saved. So now we've got 2 blog posts and a fixed bug.
Today we talked about fixing bugs in our blog application and kind of gave you some insight onto how we approach bug fixing.
The first step is to reproduce the bug, and then you're going to make sure you identify the root of the problem. Third step is to finally fix the bug, and then the fourth step is to test it and all the edge cases around your fix and make sure that everything is working properly.
Smart. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell for more awesome content. And thanks for watching. See you guys.
See ya.
Insight onto how we actually do this.
What was that?
My cat just came in. She like opened the door.
Oh, good for her.
You can't come in. You can't come in here. You're not part of the video.